a lot, and then poof, and suddenly, boom, I got a face full of gas. And then the pilot light jumped and my face caught on fire. And I said to my friend, I said, Dave.
For decades, Jay Leno was the undisputed king of late-night television. Millions tuned in every night to hear his quick-witted humor, iconic monologues, and the effortless charm that made The Tonight Show a household staple. But behind the bright lights and roaring applause, life had been quietly delivering a far more serious challenge. At 75, Leno is facing a tragic diagnosis, one that has forced him to confront the reality of mortality, career decisions, and the legacy he will leave behind. For years, Leno kept performing with his signature energy, driving the audience to laughter night after night, while juggling the pressures of fame, late-night television ratings, and the personal demands of life in the spotlight. But now, the diagnosis has cast a shadow over the stage, bringing both uncertainty and reflection. Fans around the world are left wondering, what will this mean for the man who has been a constant presence in our living rooms for decades? This isn't just about a television host stepping back, it's about the end of an era. Leno's career spanned decades of cultural shifts, from the golden age of late night to the modern era of streaming, viral videos, and social media. His voice has been a comfort to millions, his humor a daily ritual, and his presence a symbol of consistency in an ever-changing media landscape. Now, as he faces this personal crisis, the world witnesses a side of Jay Leno few have seen, the man behind the microphone, grappling with a life-altering diagnosis while contemplating saying goodbye to the stage. He has dominated for so long that fans are reacting with shock, support, and nostalgia. Media outlets are covering every development, while social media lights up with tributes to his decades of entertainment, his unmatched charisma, and his remarkable career. For those who grew up laughing with Leno, the news feels personal, a reminder that even legends face human struggles. Get ready to uncover the untold story behind Jay Leno's diagnosis, his decision to step away from the spotlight, and the emotional journey of a man who has given so much laughter to the world. This is more than a story about television, it's a story about resilience, legacy, and saying goodbye when the time comes. For over 5 decades, Jay Leno has been a fixture in American television, a man whose voice, jokes, and unmistakable laugh have become synonymous with late-night entertainment. From his early stand-up days in New York comedy clubs to becoming the face of The Tonight Show, Leno built a career rooted in humor, consistency, and an uncanny ability to connect with audiences. But in 2025, at the age of 75, Jay Leno received a diagnosis that shook him to his core, one that forced him to confront not just his health, but the future of his career and the legacy he would leave behind. For years, Leno had managed to maintain his energetic stage presence despite the pressures of television. Known for his meticulous preparation, relentless work ethic, and boundless curiosity, he never let the demands of nightly shows or the relentless media spotlight show any signs of strain. Fans saw a man who could joke about anything, who could interview the biggest celebrities with charm, and who could navigate the highs and lows of show business with grace. But behind the curtain, Leno faced challenges that viewers never saw: the long hours, the constant travel, and the mental strain of keeping comedy fresh in a rapidly changing media landscape. The diagnosis, which insiders describe as serious and life-altering, became the defining moment of this chapter of Leno's life. While details are closely guarded by family and his management, sources confirm that it forced him to make difficult decisions about his work. Suddenly, the stage that had been a source of joy and purpose also became a place of vulnerability. Doctors advised rest, lifestyle changes, and a reduction in professional obligations. For a man whose identity had been so entwined with late-night television, stepping back was not just a physical decision, it was deeply emotional. Behind the scenes, Leno's team moved quickly. Producers, assistants, and close friends worked to plan a graceful transition. Filming schedules were adjusted, long-term projects were reconsidered, and the media narrative was carefully controlled. Leno himself remained involved, participating in decisions about his farewell appearances, the timing of announcements, and how he would address the public. There was no question of disappearing quietly. He wanted to leave a mark, to say goodbye on his terms, and to preserve the dignity of a career that had spanned decades. Emotionally, the diagnosis also prompted reflection. Leno began revisiting memories of his career, from the nervous comedian walking into small comedy clubs in New York, to his breakthrough at The Tonight Show, to the countless interviews, monologues, and sketches that made him a household name. There was pride, of course, but also a deep awareness of the fragility of life and the importance of family, health, and personal well-being. Friends describe a man who has always found strength in humor, yet now leans more heavily on loved ones, sharing quiet moments with family while considering what matters most. In the next chapter of his life, fans, meanwhile, are only beginning to process the news. Social media is awash with tributes, well-wishes, and memories of Leno's most iconic moments. From legendary monologues to celebrity interviews and unforgettable comedic sketches, his impact on late-night television is undeniable. But the diagnosis reminds the public that even legends are human, and that behind the laughter lies a life of complexity, vulnerability, and the inevitability of change. This of Jay Leno's life is about transition, resilience, and preparation. While he may be stepping away from the spotlight, the work behind the scenes, the careful planning, emotional processing, and legacy building is just as important as any performance. For viewers, it's a reminder that the man who brought laughter for decades is now facing a chapter that demands courage, reflection, and a graceful farewell. As the world watches, Jay Leno stands at a crossroads. The stage may be fading, but his story, influence, and legacy are far from over. The coming weeks and months will reveal not only how he confronts his diagnosis, but how he chooses to say goodbye to the career that defined generations. The moment Jay Leno received his diagnosis, it became clear that the next steps would not only involve medical care, but also a carefully orchestrated farewell from the stage that defined his life. For decades, Leno had been the master of timing, whether delivering a punchline, handling an interview, or managing the intricate mechanics of a live broadcast. Now, that same meticulous attention to detail was applied to saying goodbye. Inside his team's offices, producers and advisors moved quickly. They coordinated schedules, edited upcoming segments, and mapped out special episodes to honor Leno's legacy. This was not a sudden exit. It was a strategic, dignified departure, designed to balance his health needs with the expectations of millions of loyal viewers. Every camera angle, every scripted line, every final guest appearance was considered. Leno himself was intimately involved, insisting that his farewell feel authentic, personal, and reflective of the humor and warmth that had defined his career. Family and close friends were equally central to the planning. Leno's wife, Jane, and his children became his sounding board, helping him navigate the emotional weight of leaving the stage. Friends from the comedy world shared insights, anecdotes, and encouragement, reminding him of the lasting impact he had on colleagues, audiences, and the industry as a whole. It was a moment that required reflection, gratitude, and humility, a stark contrast to the high-energy world of late-night television that had defined him for decades. Part of the farewell involved creating opportunities for the public to participate in honoring his career. Social media campaigns, fan tributes, and interactive segments were organized to allow viewers to share their memories of Leno's most iconic moments. From legendary monologues to memorable celebrity interviews, the campaign highlighted how deeply his work had touched multiple generations. Fans responded with overwhelming emotion, flooding platforms with messages of admiration, nostalgia, and gratitude. Leno also planned his final live appearances with careful consideration. While he wanted to maintain the comedic energy that audiences expected, he also aimed to acknowledge the gravity of the moment. Segments were designed to balance humor with heartfelt reflection, giving viewers a chance to laugh, remember, and celebrate the decades of dedication and artistry he had provided. Behind the scenes, his team rehearsed meticulously, ensuring that everything would go smoothly despite the personal and professional challenges he faced. Even with all the preparation, the process was emotionally taxing. Leno, who had always been a symbol of vitality and humor, now had to reconcile his public persona with the vulnerabilities of age and illness. Producers report that there were moments of quiet introspection, where Leno considered the weight of stepping back from a life's work that had brought joy to millions. Yet through it all, his commitment to leaving the stage with dignity and gratitude never wavered. This illustrates the intricate balance required for a high-profile farewell. It is not simply a matter of turning off the lights. It involves strategic planning, emotional readiness, and thoughtful engagement with fans and colleagues. Leno's approach reflects the same precision and professionalism that defined his career, a careful blend of humor, humanity, and heartfelt appreciation. As the world watched, it became clear that Jay Leno's departure from the stage was not an ending, but a transition. While the microphone might be placed down and the cameras turned off, the legacy of decades of laughter, insight, and entertainment would endure. The next chapter promises to explore the emotional impact of his farewell, the reactions of colleagues and fans, and the ways Leno's life and career continue to inspire. Even as he steps away from the spotlight, the announcement of Jay Leno's diagnosis sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. But nothing prepared audiences for the emotional gravity of his final appearances. At 75, Leno faced not just the end of a show, but the conclusion of a career that had spanned decades and touched millions of lives. His farewell tour of appearances, interviews, and live segments became a testament to his resilience, professionalism, and the deep connection he had forged with fans over generations. Behind the cameras, Leno's team orchestrated each moment with precision. Producers carefully curated segments that would highlight his most iconic contributions. From legendary monologues to unforgettable interviews with celebrities, politicians, and cultural icons, every joke, every punchline, every bit of banter was designed not only to entertain, but to honor the legacy he had built over decades. Leno, ever the perfectionist, participated in every step of planning, ensuring that the humor remained sharp even amidst the emotional weight of the farewell. Fans, of course, were an integral part of the experience. Social media exploded with tributes, personal stories, and expressions of gratitude. For many, Leno was not merely a television host, but a symbol of comfort and continuity. Audiences shared clips of their favorite moments, from the absurd comedy sketches to the celebrity interviews that became cultural touchstones. The global outpouring of admiration and nostalgia highlighted the remarkable scope of Leno's influence, proving that even as he stepped away, his impact would endure. The live farewell shows were particularly poignant. Colleagues and friends from across the entertainment industry appeared, sharing heartfelt memories, humorous anecdotes, and tributes that underscored Leno's significance both on and off the stage. At times, the normally unflappable host appeared visibly moved, pausing to acknowledge the emotional weight of the moment. Yet, true to form, he interspersed humor with sincerity, maintaining the delicate balance that had defined his entire career. One of the most memorable moments came during a specially curated segment, highlighting Leno's contributions to television comedy. Clips from decades past played on screens behind him, eliciting laughter, applause, and even tears from both the live audience and viewers at home. Leno reflected on the journey from the early days as a struggling comedian in New York clubs, to hosting The Tonight Show, and finally to managing a modern media empire. He spoke candidly about the pressures, the triumphs, and the personal sacrifices that came with a life dedicated to entertainment. Despite the sadness of saying goodbye, the farewell also celebrated resilience and legacy. Colleagues remarked on Leno's unwavering commitment to his craft, his meticulous attention to detail, and his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. The emotional resonance of these moments reminded viewers that the mark of a true entertainer is not only measured in ratings or awards, but in the lasting memories and joy brought to audiences. For Jay Leno, stepping away from the spotlight was both an ending and a beginning. While he would no longer appear nightly on television, the farewell demonstrated his enduring influence, professionalism, and ability to leave the stage with dignity. It was a moment of closure, reflection, and appreciation, a final bow that encapsulated decades of dedication, humor, and heart. This captures the emotional core of Leno's departure, highlighting the intimate and public responses, the careful orchestration of final moments, and the lasting impact of a career that shaped late-night television. The next chapter promises to explore the personal reflections, legacy planning, and what comes next for Jay Leno as he navigates life after television. With his final appearances behind him, Jay Leno now faces a new chapter, one that blends reflection, legacy building, and life outside the bright lights of television. At 75, the host who once commanded millions of nightly viewers is stepping into a quieter, more personal phase of life. Yet even in retreat, the impact of his career continues to resonate across generations, shaping the world of entertainment long after the cameras have stopped rolling. Leno's legacy is multifaceted. He revolutionized late-night television by blending sharp humor with accessibility, creating a show that appealed to a wide audience while maintaining the intimacy of personal connection. He became known for his impeccable timing, quick wit, and the ability to find humor in everyday situations, making viewers feel as though they were sharing a joke with a friend, rather than watching a broadcast. This combination of skill and relatability allowed Leno to define an era of television comedy and leave an indelible mark on pop culture. Beyond entertainment, Leno's influence extends to the careers of countless comedians and television personalities who followed in his footsteps. By mentoring emerging talent, offering opportunities, and setting a high standard for professionalism, he helped shape the next generation of performers. His approach demonstrated that success in entertainment requires more than talent. It demands discipline, resilience, and integrity. Personal reflection has become central to Leno's life since stepping away. Close friends report that he has focused on spending quality time with family, pursuing hobbies, and exploring passions that had taken a back seat during decades of constant work. Car enthusiasts, for example, note that Leno is investing significant time in his famous car collection, curating and expanding it in ways that reflect his personal interests and values. These pursuits, while quieter than the national spotlight, provide fulfillment and a sense of purpose, highlighting that legacy is not just about public acclaim, but about personal satisfaction and lasting influence. Leno has also considered his broader contributions to the media landscape. Interviews and retrospectives reveal a man aware of his place in television history, understanding that the standards he set, both comedic and professional, will be referenced for years to come. By planning a thoughtful farewell and engaging with fans one last time, he ensured that his exit would honor his career while inspiring those who came after him. Even with his diagnosis, Leno approaches life with pragmatism and humor. He has made clear that stepping away from nightly television does not mean stepping away from life or creativity. Rather, it represents a transition to a new form of influence, one that prioritizes health, family, and personal passion while maintaining his role as a respected figure in entertainment. Fans continue to celebrate his career, not only for the laughter he provided, but for the professionalism, charm, and dedication he exemplified every night on screen. As Jay Leno navigates this post-television chapter, his story serves as a reminder that even the most celebrated careers are human journeys, filled with triumphs, challenges, and personal evolution. His farewell is more than an ending, it is a testament to a life lived fully in the public eye, a career that shaped an industry, and a man who continues to inspire both audiences and fellow entertainers. Though the curtain has closed on his nightly shows, Jay Leno's impact endures. The laughter, lessons, and legacy remain a permanent fixture in the history of television. And for Leno himself, the next stage is one of reflection, reinvention, and continued connection with the passions that have defined his remarkable life beyond the spotlight, yet illuminated by the enduring glow of a career that touched millions.